All right, guys, welcome to Sunset Bar. Today we've got Rennie and Lingy here with us, and we're going to take you on a
Yeah.
little
Hi, hi.
adventure exploring through the space. They're going to be talking with us today and letting us know what brought about the creation of this bar and all the different features and wonderful benefits that it has to offer. So, we want to know a little bit about you guys. What got you started building this bar and getting this experience into VR chat?
That is a bit of a deep dive. If we want to start at the beginning, Brittany and I have always sort of been interested in the user-generated content scene. We got our start on StarCraft Brood War, which is where our names come from. So I was the Zerg player, Rini was the Terran player, Ling and Reen, Zergling, Marine, base units of the races. Very creative, I know. They've stuck through the ages. So
Indeedy.
we got our start trying to make maps back on the original StarCraft. Marginally successful. We knew everybody in the creation space, but we were also those kids that nobody ever wanted to deal with. So I understood that a little more as time went on. But we never let that go. We always sort of had a drive to make something to provide back, and I've always been sort of community focused myself. So one thing led to another. We find our way to VR chat, and way back 2021, we put the finishing touches on a Yahtzee world because we figure, you know what, this is a decently social game, super easy to make. It'll be a blast, totally. And it doesn't work anymore. It does, kind of, but because of the way VR chat is, unfortunately, Udon coding updates got pushed through that made things not work anymore, and it's a monument these days, I suppose. But it was successful.
Indeed.
And it definitely drove us to try again. So, under the umbrella of a new project, Rennie and I set forth, we started working on a variety of more relaxing, more, well, I should say less feature-focused worlds. So more like your just, your general, what? What are you laughing at?
I mean, I wouldn't call the second one comforting. We tried everything. We were very excited to make game worlds in the beginning, and we tried to make our own card game. We kind of let that project go because Better Uno had come out, and we were like, "There's no way we're beating that." So let's make a zombie game. Well, we got AI working. We got enemies running around the map, but they weren't animated. I was working on guns, using hit scan. Did not know what I was doing. I was putting it together as it came along, and it kind of worked still. To this day, for whatever reason, that world seems to work. We tried to make a roguelite. I was doing health bars on top of enemies. We were trying to make boss mechanics. We didn't really get too far into that.
There were other side projects along the way. We had a location known as The Fold, which was sort of my love letter to the community, where I wanted to make a better stage. So the whole time I've been on VR chat, I've met a lot of great people in places like the Great Pug. I've met a few good people in the Black Cat, as crazy as that might sound. But I've seen performers performing in these spaces. And I hate the stage in both of them. Or, well, in the Black Cat's sake, both of the stages. The world's been updated in 2023, and it's a lot better. But I don't know. I still have the old imprint of the world baked into the back of my head, and I'm like, wow, the main stage has a pillar through the middle of it. I understand why structurally you did this, but why did you do this? So I've always kind of wanted to have a better stage, and that's what led to that project. But that was another learning project. I hadn't learned Blender yet. I was still trying to use something known as Pro Builder in Unity. It's a free asset. Everybody has access to it. If you can download Unity, you can download Pro Builder. And the package manager. So it's very quick. It gives you granular control over different primitive meshes, much like Blender. In fact, it has a lot of the same like keys and shortcuts like Blender does, but it's not as powerful. So when Rainy and I decided, we're going to start working on some new projects, and we're understanding the limitations of Pro Boulder, I had to finally go on my own Blender journey and start learning things. So
it sounds like you guys have been in here for quite a little bit. I mean, testing out different programs and working on, like you said, the Yahtzee game before you came out with the Sunset Bar. How long have you been in the VR chat communities?
So I got in April 2018.
Okay.
When did I get? I can't remember. It was 2020. It was pre-COVID. My first world was drinking night. Amusingly, that's where I met my first friends. And we moved on from there. I would learn that I prefer game worlds over anything usually. I don't know why. It's just a different vibe. Everybody's energetic, gremlin energy. Everyone's loud. It gets kind of exciting, And I'm not too much of a mirror dweller. I will mirror dwell, but it's not my scene. So, but yeah. Oh my goodness. I remember in the beginning, it was game worlds, social worlds, none of that was even on my plate. It was, I need to find an avatar that I identify with. And I did find one until it was removed, and then went on like an 8-month hiatus. Oh, that was depressing. But
yeah, that's always one of the downfalls. Once you find a perfect avatar, unless you've bought it, purchased it, and uploaded it yourself, especially when it's public, you have it one day and then the next day it's completely gone.
Exactly. It was heartbreaking. But yeah, now we got me. I'm custom now, and I don't have to worry about that. Yes, it's always been learning experiences for us, amusingly. Every project, every failure has just been a better teacher. My coding, for example, has gotten only better and better and better. I know the do's and don'ts. I know what to tell people. Don't do this, do this. Make sure you're doing this. And whatever you do, quit using loops so, I guess, pragmatically, just all over the place. You got to make sure every line of code makes sense, and you got to make sure things are happening as they should be happening, not constantly. So,
well, Lingy, Rennie,
tip for anyone out there.
Do either of you have a background in coding or in Unity?
Well, amusingly, so not on a professional level. Every time I've ever opened Unity was always for hobbyist stuff. I am not employed, nor am I a professional. Although one could say I guess you could say we are now. But programming, I learned Visual Basic when I was 13, 14 I self-taught myself. I ripped apart code in this MMORPG editor. I highly doubt you would have ever gotten more than 32 people on it, so we'll just call it like a co-op server, but it's like an RPG Maker. And I started my journey by crafting a strength potion. And instead of coding it appropriately, instead we had, oh goodness, I had hard-coded every line, did not know practices. But amusingly, I did start with like decent formatting. It was readable, and I've maintained that to this day. I will make readable code. I don't like making things that just look ridiculous. But after a university course, taught me Java, self-taught myself C#, self-taught myself JavaScript. I can read and write JSON documents. That's not too difficult though. And all of those fundamentals came together to work on this place. It's just amusing how just since Udon, which I will say I use Udon Sharp. I prefer not using noodles. It's quite amazing that we have the opportunity in VR chat to actually script with C#, which I'm very, 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 very familiar with, and then with a small background in Unity and understanding all the lingo, how to get things done. It has just made things easier, and I'm at the point where I say, that's not hard, and then somebody will be like, but it took me 10 hours, and I'll be like, I'll show you how to do it in 5. It's terrifying.
Well, have y'all worked with other coders, scripters, or programmers while building this world or working on some of your previous ones? I know you were talking about the server basically on the other project that you were working with.
Well, for this project, we specifically have one friend who really, really, really was eager to help us out with a few things. But for the most part, he handled the shader for the drinks over there. He handled a shader for the private rooms, so you cannot see them in the distance. Although I guess people can still use the mirror trick, so we just got to make sure that the camera range is probably lower. Though I think we're good. And then he made the private room code. He already had something made, so we're like, okay, yeah. If you want to contribute, no problem at all. So we have one additional coder, though he's not as involved with the project. Like he's not like we can go to him. Well, no, we actually can go to him any day, but we're not bothering him every day, for example. Much like our voice actor, Wolfcry, who greets you at the door every time. I want to do more voice acting in here, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds fun. Well, one thing I really want to know about this is what inspired you guys to put together this space?
Here we
So
go.
that's the fun story. All right, so once upon a time, I was doing freelance bartending over at the Midnight Bar. The map had been out for a week out of community labs, and I was invited. I knew that I had plenty of other friends that were just sort of always there. I didn't know exactly what it was immediately. I knew it was Valhalla based because I knew the imagery, I knew the character in the splash art for the world. So I'm like, yeah, I can always go play that on Steam, maybe, find out what's going on in here. But I just sort of followed out with a bunch of friends one night and started getting myself involved. I had learned the systems pretty quickly, and after that night, I think I was spending 4 to 5 hours a night just sitting in Midnight Bar instances. I was either bartending myself as a freelance. I had not actually associated with any of the main bars. I just kind of like doing things my own way. I bartended about half the time I was there. So the other half of the time, I was sitting in, enjoying the space. I liked the bigger spaces in the beginning because it was kind of hard to fill in an instance. But then, as time went on, I found that the bigger instances were getting a little too packed, and I preferred the smaller instances where I could get more of a homey feel. And things were good, but I had originally right about the same time Midnight Bar had come out, I'd started putting together a small little project myself, but then I put it on hold because I was spending all my time in Midnight Bar. I put it on hold for about 2 months. And then the Midnight Bar's Patreon came out. And this is where the happy story takes the turn for the worse. So, as I understand, you can spend $10 a month on the Patreon over there, and you can get immediate access to go behind the bar whenever you want. Which, etiquette-wise, is not the best decision. However, it didn't matter to people, and it still happens in there today, as I understand. I was running a solo instance for about 5 hours. I had a good wealth of good people in there, but they understood that I wanted to do things my way. I wanted a solo bartending experience. Security was not an issue at the time. We didn't have a security system there. Nobody really asked, if anybody was 18. Everybody just sort of fell in rank. They were role playing, and it was a decent time. But a week after the Patreon comes out, and it's ironic because I had a friend who was telling me constantly a few weeks up to the Patreon coming out, and as soon as it came out, that nobody was going to abuse this. They knew that this was going to be an option. They were personally going to be buying it themselves, and no way, Lingy. Nobody's going to abuse this. Week after the Patreon comes out, I have Joe Schmo, who's spending $10 a month, comes behind the bar and tells me, "Get the hell out, this is my bar now." And I'm like, well, I see that you were able to get behind here. I know what you're doing. You are supporting the world, and I appreciate that. However, I've been running this instance, and there are other instances out there. If you want to be a bartender at one of these other instances, I suggest one of those. I'd like to keep running things my way here. And before any other words, any other conversation, before I can do anything else, goes into the back, literally promotes everybody to bartender, goes over to the private room door, opens that up, and comes behind the bar again and tells me, "This is my bar now, get the hell out." Suffice to say, it was my own group public instance. So I banned him on the spot, but the damage was done. He ruined the instance. The people that I didn't want behind the bar got behind the bar. The other people, they just sort of were like, well, I guess this, it's a good memory now. We'll see you later, Lee. So I was financially dominated in VR chat for the price of $10. It was my first time. It will be my only time. I don't recommend it. That's my story. That propelled me into saying to myself, bruh, Lee, you gotta make something better than this. You can do it. It's not gonna be hard. So, starting then, I started taking Monday, Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday as well, and I was spending 8 to 10 hours on a day sitting in Blender, sitting in Unity, just hashing it out, figuring it out. It turned out that before we hit labs and soon after, I was spending almost 16 hours a day, several days per week, actually working on the space. I was constantly on it. I wasn't finding enjoyment in the games I was playing. I wasn't finding enjoyment in just going into social situations. I knew deep down inside I had to work on this. And I was laser focused. I was not putting it down.
Well,
So,
I hate to say
indeed.
this, but I'm kind of glad that that situation happened, because if it hadn't, maybe you wouldn't have this amazing space that you have right now. And that is something I kind of want to touch on, How does it feel to create such a beautiful world and sharing this with the VR community?
it's incredible. Everything about this is incredible because I knew the shortcomings of the Midnight Bar. And I know deep down inside that map cannot change. Fundamentally, that map cannot change. If they made it bigger, it's going to kill the vibe for some people. And they're going to lose some people. But they might gain some people. Security has always been an issue over there. Ever since the advent of the bar groups at large, you have a strong desire for security and 18 plus security in instances. And while VRChat has content tagging, their verification system just simply requires you to punch in a birth date at the time of your account creation, and you can lie. So there is no true 18 plus verification in VRChat yet. So we we got visited by several of the bars. They're like, hey, we want to use this space. How long until that security system is done? How long until we can start really getting people in here? Because we know you've got a good system behind the bar, and you've got a good system here. How long? And this was back in October.
October?
In between, we had a big Friday the 13th party. It was huge.
Yes.
We had almost 60 people in here for like the entirety of the night. And to us, that was just massively successful. When you look at resources like vrcw.net online, and you were tracking like world statistics, we were getting maybe 100 people in here a day. Maybe. Sometimes it bottomed out and there was nobody coming in. Really, the whole population that was coming into the world was because either I was in here, Rainey was in here, or a close friend that also would sort of just wrangle up the whole friend group and they'd all pop in for the evening.
Indeed.
After October.
Talking about friends and stuff within here, like my first time coming in here, I got invited by my friend Gothic, and she was bartending in your space, and it was just her and me and maybe 2 or 3 other friends, and we were like, hey, you want to throw a party real quick? I was like, yeah, why not? So we threw the ball drop up on your screens, and the whole security system was amazing. Like the fact that we could keep the kiddos out of the space and keep the adults in here was amazing, and loved every second of that. And I guess really speaking on that, the tablet management system that you have in here is very intuitive. Can you explain how the tablet system works?
So we're going into my expertise now. Awesome.
Yes.
So, for the most part, I assume you're talking about the tablets that snap to the various walls, not the one specifically for the security people out front. So that system, we were playing around with some ideas, and we were like, let's put a panel here, it does this. Let's put a panel here, it does that. Let's put a panel there, it does that. That one still needs to be updated, and I'm very sorry to everybody who really needs that bartending computer to actually be relevant again. Gosh, it's still got our whole Discord info on it. But
Does.
we were thinking, okay, so there was a DJ panel, there was a management console, there was the options panel. I'm like, you know what? Let's just put it all together. And then let's save on performance. Let's just move it to whatever zone you recently moved into. That way, you've only got the one. It always works. It's left off right where you were. Though I've got a few tweaks that I'd like to add to that eventually. And just almost everything that I do in here, apart from the obvious things like the bartending mechanics, the doors and the auto closing and things of that nature, a lot of it just straight up goes through that panel. So the bartenders have features in there where they can turn off the ability to serve alcohol to people. They can pick up the glass, but they can't do anything with it. Or you can remove the pickup ability altogether. Menus, for example, like all of those features beautifully, maybe not beautifully, but adequately placed inside that panel. But literally everything about the instance is run from there. It's a miniature command center for whoever is considered the assistant manager. You assign permissions to people, you handle your security through that, but we realize it has its shortcomings. For example, when you have a packed 60-player instance and 20 people just came in, the bouncer or security staff are going to be very, very sad because they're scrolling through the list. They'll be like, okay, hold on, I got to find this guy, I got to find this guy, I got to find this guy. So then we added the security tablet out front, which just gives you the relevant info. And that's been my new challenge, is making it so that everything we do in here, it's speeding up the workflow of anybody who wants to operate in this space. It's improving the ability to just have the light role play experience, the heavy role playing experience, or just a cozy, comfortable, convenient place to party. And because of all that, we have our security system. To this day, I still think that there are some improvements I can add to it, but we're getting there. And we've had a lot of support for other systems that go through it, such as our 18+ verification, which I'm genuinely shocked. People join our Discord every day still, and I'm like, how did we get here? It's a miracle. You want to say?
I was just pointing at the stage.
Oh yeah. Well, you want to go on about that?
I'll take over. So the world panels also have support for both the stage. There are several options in there, and that's getting improved over time. And then, of course, out in the main the club area, the Horizon Lounge, as we've dubbed it, or I'm sorry, the Sundown Lounge. We have the Horizon stage, the Sundown Lounge, and we are in Sunset. The Sundown Lounge has the main club focus and has the whole DJ booth and everything set up. We're hoping to get more features as time goes on in there, though I won't deny the majority of our planning and roadmap right now has us more focused out here, because the stage in general, that is what is being used a lot for performance acts right now. You have the Savvy and the Golden Grain, which are both roughly about 3 weeks old in terms of performance life. They've been definitely thought out for I can say for the Savvy for months. Savvy's been working on a network of bringing in open mic, both singers, trying to get dancers, comedy, anybody that would be able to perform up on the stage. Savvy's been working on, and as of now, Savvy gets to run her own bar, has that influence that she can bring people on the stage, literally get live entertainment in here every night they open on Thursdays, which is incredible.
And all because of a panel.
I suppose so. You have features where you can drop the sound level of people around the stage. You can raise the volume of the person who's on the stage. There's the collider toggle, so you can prevent people from trying to crowd up on the stage and interrupt the performer. We can block that out completely. So it's been a very, very... It's a super useful addition, not only because it makes the space more immersive, but it's so good for the community, and that's what we're doing here. We want community. We want people to come out and do what they want to do. If you want to come out and bartend, you can bartend. If you want to come out and do security, you can do security. But that's not the limits. There are other things you can do in the space. People do art. They sing, they dance, they play instruments, they DJ. That's it's so
It's a
welcoming to see that.
it's a wild evolution, and
Yes.
Hey, and guys,
And
I
it's all because of
also
that
want to
wonderful
touch
panel.
bases with you at the end of the show, whenever you want. The links for the Discord and for the world will all be listed down below in our video. So go ahead and check those out and come explore with us. Lingy and Rennie, I want to
Mm-hmm.
know, would y'all be interested in showing us around the club a little bit? Showing us all the different things that people have that they can experience here?
Shall we start up at the
always.
street?
Let's go.
It's a good spot.
All right.
And
So, welcome to the streets of Duskview City. Duskview City is the name of, well, it's been an amalgamation of things, but it's been a title that I've wanted to give to some sort of project that Reedy and I have worked on since we were 13 years old. So, 21 years ago, I coined the name, I have run with the name, and finally, I've given birth to something substantive? No, wrong word. I'm thinking of another word. Something of worth. Let's go with that. So, currently, there's a little bit more to be done out here. We want to actually have a different spawn system where inevitably you'll actually come in on a city bus and be dropped off over here at the bus stop. That's going to be sweet. You'll be able to actually sort of squad spawn, if you will, in with your buddies. And when everybody's in, you can hit to skip the timer. Everybody can launch the bus. Everybody gets to come out and then take in the sights. Today, it's snowing. Most times it's raining because this is Duskview City. It's the city of the near dystopian future that it's always raining, it's always neon, it's always dark because that's the future, right? So we step over here, coming inside past the bollards. This is perhaps a little bit of a hidden gem as the way it's designed to look. Inevitably, this is going to look more like a subway's entryway because that's what it's supposed to be. This is actually a derelict subway station that has been repurposed for other means, but they drilled a hole in the wall and put a sunset logo in, and the rest is history. Coming inside. Thank you, Rennet. You'll find the landing here. It's where basically you have the old ticketing booth and service station before you hit the actual like turnstiles, although they're the gated style, not the actual like turning ones. But in your typical day-to-day instance of Sunset, most instances will be running security straight out of this box. Or they might have somebody posted out here. It's really truly up to them. If I were to come down here, I would probably immediately be greeted by security, who would like to confirm my age and whether or not, basically give me a vibe check. If I sound like somebody they'd like to keep in, and I pass the verification, they'll go ahead and key me in. The padlocks will open up, the big gate that says verification required will disappear, and I'll be able to walk up to the gates, and they will open as I approach.
so let's say we have an unruly person within the instance, somebody who's, trolling or trying to cause some issues. How do we handle those people in these instances?
Great question. So by default, the general manager is the person who starts the instance. They're basically the room manager, but they can pass room manager or general manager to anybody else in the room as they desire. The general manager has the ability to toggle the verification gates. And again, by default, they're on. So we kind of recommend them, honestly. However, this is the point of entry. And if you don't pass the check, you're not getting in. If you try to break past the walls with a different avatar, there are teleport colliders that will catch you and send you back outside. There are different systems as well. If they keep trying, you'll be able to jail them, for example. And or if it's not as serious, you can lock them out to where they're stuck out on the street and there's nothing else they can do. They can see a nice fancy timer at the front right before they start coming down the ramp, coming in, of how long their punishment is. And as I understand, it gets a little bit of use. Though most people these
Wonderful.
days will run, most people will run a group public. Uh, it's just simply because you get moderation features with that. You have the ability to kick from your instance, which gives them a 1 hour soft timeout where they're not allowed to reconnect. You also have the ability to ban people if you need to. Not all groups hand out all moderation permissions, so having systems built into the world is definitely a comfort, at least, while anybody that is running a bar can actually get the people that they need to get out toxic people, racist people, homophobic, transphobic, just general trolls, whatever they are, whatever flavor they're in today. There are ways to contain them, get them away from the public. But there's also decent ways to deal with people. You don't have to jail them. Some people you just want to lock out so you can permanently lock them out on the street. And the way the map is designed is if they receive a punishment in this world by somebody in this world, it will keep a record of that. So if they try reconnecting, they're going right back up into that jail. They're not coming inside.
Awesome. Awesome.
Security will keep them out if you want them out.
Yes. It has been one of the largest struggles, and I think this is one of the largest selling points of our world. Because if you trust your people with your group instance to kick people or ban people, fine. If you don't trust them, but rather would just have the luxury of being able to do all these other moderation tasks, we have it. And we have every flavor now. We're very happy with how all of this has come out. And then furthermore, our security system doesn't just stop there. We've recently added the usefulness that is our VIP system. So if you mark someone as a VIP, you can turn on gates in the world. And those gates, represented by a purple hexagon sort of shield wall, if you will, only lets VIPs through. So if you've got like a major event, you're okay with everybody in the front, but only VIPs are getting out to the club, you can set that up. Whatever your flavor, whatever you need this world to do for you, that's what we built it for. It's all about customization, which is, I feel, kind of unique to VR chat still. We have worlds that you can customize. Usually you buy it off of Booth or Gumroad and then you modify it yourself in Unity and then do whatever. But our world, we wanted everybody to have the tools. No matter how simple or complex you are as a person, you're going to find something in here you like doing. Do you like being the mastermind, the big brain, know-it-all? You're probably the general manager. You like serving drinks and talking to people? How about bartending? Maybe you're just really good at finding out who's who. Security's right for you. So.
Next. I need your name. I see you on the list. Come on through. Next in line. Let me see. You're good to go. Come on through.
With those ideas in mind, how about bartending?
So
That's the
let's head
other
inside.
big thing.
So we've made it through security, and we're coming inside to the Sunset Bar. We're greeted by the wonderful voice that is semi-modulated of our voice actress, or actor, Wolfcry91196. Thank you, Wolf, as always. So we come on inside. You will be welcomed by a nice little bit of text if it's your first time, but take it in. You've got seating to your right, to your left, stage to your left. You've got different hallways leading to other functions towards the back, and definitely a lot to see. A lot of advertisements, because that's sort of the nature of where we're at. It's a near dystopian future. It's 20XX. Everything is metal and neon. It's always raining. It's always dark, and everybody's depressed and needs a brew at the end of the day or something. I don't know. Lore dump. But you come in, welcome to the bar. If you're by yourself, maybe you take a stool. Maybe if you have another friend, you both take some stools. You got a party of 4, comfortable booths off to the side. You've got a big party, different corner booths off to the side. Maybe there's a performance act, and you want to sit up by the stage. Definitely plenty of space for that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and wiggle behind the bar real quick. Now, If I had a menu on tap, which I currently do not, I would then be able to put an image into the world and show you an image on this board. Unfortunately, it is currently a cursed, stretched image of the Sunset logo until another image is actually unloaded onto it. But pretend, if you will, there's a menu there. I can hand these out. I can actually arrange them with what Rinny's done to send them around the bar. So, for example, if you'll give me a second.
So, Rennie, question for
I
you,
can
real quick.
arrange.
Yeah,
The Horizon stage that y'all have up here. So, when I was here, I was being told that it also has a microphone option for being able to broadcast your voice.
precisely. So there is a red microphone, maybe pink. It might be. Honestly, I don't know that. There's a red
Purple.
one and then yeah. So there's a microphone up there. You're able to just pick it up and it broadcasts fairly well. We actually have two systems up there. We were kind of designing one at the same time that another system kind of fell into our lap. We kind of let whoever wants to use what or whichever is more convenient at the time use whichever. People playing an instrument, for example, probably cannot pick up that microphone. So it's good to have a solution where you don't have to hold it in your hand, but sometimes it's really nice to have a prop. So the pickupable microphone will probably always be there. In fact, it probably will do something. Maybe just that's the way we project voices in the future. But we've got a system up there, of course, that it will auto project for you. It'll hush people, and while it's not feature complete yet, originally I had designed it so that it showed an area of influence where it would show how far people would be voice docked and things of that nature. To be perfectly honest with you, after being here for several events, I don't really think that system is as necessary anymore. I think it should just be the entire bar, especially if you're having a performance. But yeah. We have several microphones in the place. There's one behind that door over there, which will lead to the kitchen eventually. Originally, it was our management room, and back there is a microphone that literally transmits to the entire instance. Doesn't matter where you are, no matter how far away. If you're hiding in a private room, the voice will travel, and you will hear them. Although a little muffled. We do need to work on that a little. I think that's our other voice ducking system. When you turn a corner in here, if there's any solid object between you and the person you're talking with, your voice is limited to 5 meters of range if there is a solid barrier between you. So you can go into, say, the bathrooms, and it is just way more quiet, as one would expect. It is a lot quieter. You turn the corner, just that very wall right there. You can have a private conversation, even though this bar could be packed. You won't hear them unless you're standing in that doorway.
If I'm talking, listen to me as I go around the corner. This is me still talking, and my name is Lee. Hi, and I have.
Oh, wow. That is really cool.
Corner. And there you go.
Nice.
There's a lot of design here for comfort. We want to make sure that every space is comfortable. So you don't have to worry about going behind a wall being like, well, you know what? It's cool. There's seating here, but it's not really good because I can still hear the whole bar. Nope. We got that covered.
And what were we talking about with the menus over here, Lingy?
All right. So imagine, if you will, we have, and I believe Rooney is going to put some sort of menu on there for us. But imagine, if you will, until then, you have your menu. And you don't even have to specifically order from the menu because there is not. That's amazing. So welcome.
It's a joke menu, but
and we have beer, not beer, and burger, which is, I guess, some sort of liquid meat substitute drink. I don't want to pour that, so please don't order that drink. So I can give you something that you order off the menu. I can give you something that you order custom. Either works. So let's say, for example, you order the beer. And I come over here. I input what is the beer on our menu, which in this case might just be a pint glass filled with beer. Which, that looks a little wrong. Let's get rid of that, because beers are supposed to be frothy. We have the option for that. I did not throw that away properly. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. So beers are supposed to be frothy. That looks so much better. So I've got you a pint of beer. Maybe you don't like the pint. Maybe you tell me, Lingy, you suck. You need to pour me into a bigger glass. So then I'm like, I'm going to pour you a mug of beer. So I can very quickly take the recipe I have. It is preserved over here. I can then switch the glass and very quickly pour you another drink. Let's say you think the mug sucks too. I can pour you a Stein of beer. Bam. Sorry, Germany. I'm still very American. Let's say you're not feeling the beer all of a sudden. You're like, Lingy, get that out of here. So, two ways to get rid of the drinks in the world while we're on that subject. The sink was originally created as the deposit point to just get rid of a drink. That cleans them up. That gets them ready to be poured in the system again. However, there is a good possibility that people are going to lose their drinkware somewhere around the world, and we were running into this, where there were open bars for maybe 2 hours that were actively serving drinks, and they had about 3 glasses that they were able to work with because the rest of them were lost around the instance. So, much to everybody's benefit or detriment, that's your decision. The floor is also the sink. Goodbye, Stein. Let's say you're not having the beer. Let's say you want the not beer. Let's go ahead and pour something fun. So, I have the ability to give you basically a drink with any color you want, any cup you want. I can give you other additions like ice, coffee, such as that. I can pour this very vibrant fizzy drink. This lovely purple. But I can also very quickly change it into something perhaps a little pinker. We have different flavor components that represent the different colors that we use for all of the color adjustments. We have fruity, which is red. We have sour, which is green. And we have... You got me off track. And we have sweet, which is blue. Reedy requested a cyan, so let me get you that. I can make that very quickly by adding a little bit of sour, a little bit of sweet. We're going to go ahead and pour this in a very fun glass. Although, admittedly, this is maybe a little bit more aqua or teal. It is very close to a cyan as well.
Very delightful.
People who come in can easily ask for a drink based off of color, based off of contents. Maybe they want something fizzy, maybe they want something light, maybe they want something very alcoholic, maybe they want something non-alcoholic. We have all of those options at this bar. You also have, let's say...
Let's see, let's come around the bar over here. Take a look at the machinery that you're working with.
Absolutely.
Or something a little bit more fun. Unfortunately, the one component that Quest cannot see is the energy component. Though they do see a different visual. That is the emissive component. And emissions in Unity use Bloom. And since Bloom is a part of post-processing and Quest does not have post-processing, we unfortunately cannot truly give the same appearance to drinks between PC and Quest if the energy component is used. But for the PC side... This is a drink with no energy. This is a drink with energy. Very quick addition. Reedy is requesting a hot drink. Let's go ahead and make something like that real quick. I'm going to make a simple mug of coffee. The drink is poured, and suddenly you have a hot drink. It is steaming. It is delicious. Hopefully. It's a weird dystopian future, so I don't know if the coffee tastes right. We're like literally replicating alcohols like it's a Star Trek replicator. I don't think replicating coffee is going to be that good either, but that's your choice, I guess.
Thank you, bartender.
You're welcome. Now, I can also, let's say you're feeling a little bit more festive. The days are cold. Maybe you want a hot chocolate, but that doesn't look like a hot chocolate, Lingy. That's right, because I can put foam on it. Give it that, nice top, where you've got either, a marshmallow vibe or some kind of, vanilla-topped vibe. Maybe you're being interesting and putting whipped cream in there. There you go. It's that nice top to that drink. So it's one of the different things that we can do to give really custom drinks in this world. There is
our machine is a canvas.
It is. It truly is. And there is no end to the number of drinks that can be printed with this thing. There are so many combinations that Rini and I either have never seen or perhaps will never see, because you have full granular control over RGB components and emissives. That alone is 5 to the 4th power. And then times 8 with the different options we have below. You'll have to forgive us, the blanked out button is a different kind of ice cube that will be coming soon. But you also have 4 different types of liquor and 3 other different types of additives. You have light liquor, dark liquor, red liquor, and beer, which is designed to simulate so for a light liquor, a clear rum, a tequila, things like that. Your dark liquor would be your whiskey, your bourbon, things like that. Your red liquor would be your red wine, and then you have beer, because you can't go wrong with beer. You get to choose a proof for your drinks, which will enhance and very rapidly quicken the amount of drunkenness you'll experience in World, which is driven by a shader known as Cancer Space that will it'll start wiggling your screen around, colors will start detaching, things will start actually turning a little grayscale as the process continues. You'll even start hearing the echoing of both the video player or any music that's being played in the world, as well as player voices. So, it can be a little harsh, I won't deny. And thankfully, there's a few ways to handle that. I can do the simplest right here, where if I just reset the machine and I hit the pour button, I can pour a nice glass of water.
Stay hydrated.
Glasses of water, as well as other non-alcoholic drinks like coffee and hot chocolate, will actually diminish the amount of alcoholic effect that you are currently seeing. Though, unlike the Midnight Bar, the effects in here are not immediate. You will not get immediately drunk, and you will not immediately get sober either. There is a catch to that. There is a way, as a sort of panic button, if you are experiencing very negative feelings, you might feel something coming on, especially if anybody who has dealt with seizures, we definitely raise, there is a significant concern. Make sure if you are drinking in this world, start slow, please. But respawning will actually clear the drunkenness effect immediately. If you're looking for more immersion, you can actually run to the bathroom down the hall, which we'll show here in a little bit, where you can actually stand in front of a toilet and literally purge. Just as well, all of the options panels at their forefront, they have the ability to toggle the drunkenness system altogether. If you are somebody who is sensitive to photosensitive, if you have dealt with seizures, if you have motion sickness in VR, any of these symptoms, there is a way for you to enjoy yourself and to guarantee that you will be safe while you enjoy yourself in this world. That is something that Rini was able to contribute, and thankfully, we have that. We can give everybody a good time, everybody can be safe, and that is one of our priorities.
Indeed.
Well,
Whether
another
it's
wonderful
role-playing
feature
or
I've heard in this world as well is that y'all have a pretty amazing music stage for DJs to come in and do their live sets at. Would y'all mind showing us a little bit about that?
Sounds great.
onward.
So we're going to come out from behind the bar. This section is a little bit not as designed yet. This is what we're calling the memory vault, which inevitably is going to have an entire system to go through a wealth of the photography that's been provided to us in this world. There is definitely several shots that we already have up, but there is so many more that we'd like to show from different events, different people. We'd like to be able to catalog it and actually be able to load different sets of images, not through the world itself, but off of our website, because VRChat can load web images off of websites, and some websites are actually whitelisted, so you don't even have to check on allow untrusted URLs. We use GitHub for our image hosting, and soon this wall is going to be filled with different collages of images that you'll be able to choose which collage you'd like to look at, and it'll download that imagery for you. And a nice comfortable area to sit in, have some drinks in maybe. Inevitably that over there is going to be a video player. It is not a Dance Dance Revolution machine. I don't know where anybody heard that. Don't believe them. My goodness. As we come back, this is where it starts getting a little bit more club focused. So what we have here, this is inevitably going to be an interactive calendar where people are going to be able to see different events when they're hosted, promotion materials, who's hosting it, what group, what time, what days, is this a recurring event, is this a one-off? Until that time, we do have event posters for things that are coming to Sunset at large, and we're hoping to actually have this set up to be 4 images in the very near future, because there are events coming out here, and we want everybody in the know on that. So,
Nice.
as we come further back, this room is sort of the landing for the club. This is inevitably going to be the lore room, and is going to talk about Duskview City at large, how Sunset fits into it, and as well the different clubs, the different bars, the different influential people that make up Duskview City, either as a roleplay or as to break immersion for a second, anybody who is in the VR chat space that deserves to be on the wall. Basically, this will be another interactive room where you'll be able to go through the different lore, see how it ties into everybody, or if it doesn't tie into them, it'll be an honorable mention that you'll be able to still at least view and understand, you know, who is everybody, who are these people, what is going on.
I would love to put interactive artist profiles on that wall, like a nice image, text floats in, and it's like so and so, what they do, how they play, what times they're here, etc., etc.
Who performs here, who streams here. That's all going to be available here. So that will come one day. The front of the bar has been the main focus, but as we come out here, this is the Sundown Lounge. It still carries the name Lounge, despite not looking as much like a lounge these days, because this room has been the largest evolution in the world to date. Anything that's been community focused on, or I should say community driven, there have been a lot of requests for different things in Sunset, and this room has sort of taken the shape of all of those requests. Initially, this room was where that pool table over there was designed to go, and that was it. It was going to have a few comfortable seats, it was going to have another panel for the music player at the time, and that was it. Or then was the addition of the seating on that side, because why not? You can get this nice flank on both sides. People can sit over there and enjoy either a drink, some conversation, watch the dancers, get a nice glimpse, a little bit more secluded from the main. But then, why not add a second floor? So, initially we were cutting the ceiling so that we could put that big screen up there. But it just sort of made sense to just also add the second floor. So we did. Some of the oldest geometry in the world to this point, and definitely needs a freshening up. But until that time, you can have big elaborate parties out here. You know, we've got all the audio link stuff set up out here with, inevitably, we're going to use the VRSL prefab so that we can actually get lighting and different effects out here. We want different shader floors that are driven by things like audio link. So while it's just a static grid of hexagons right now, with audio link set up, we can actually enlarge, expand and contract those. We can make it so that their color changes. Anything you want to do, we're going to have it out here, and we want to give that control all to the booth or the command center back there, and give everybody a nice treat out here. That is inevitably down our roadmap as well.
Some people already have wild parties even without it.
Indeed. So I'm eternally grateful to them, because I know this world is not as feature rich as other worlds, other clubs, other different dance scenes, different music scenes, but we are trying to give a complete experience from front to back. So as time goes on, that this will improve, as does everything else. But again, front to back, this is not the back. So I think if we will now, we can head out this way. There is a growing number of worlds out there with private rooms in them. And I suppose for some people it's a little bit more controversial than not. Some people question, what's going on in those private rooms? Is it wholesome? It's VR chat. We can't control people. But if they're going to be doing anything wholesome or not wholesome, I'd rather give them a comfortable space to do it. So, as we head back this way, noted by that private sign there on the wall, this leads back to the private rooms. That'll be a little bit higher visibility in the future. Small note. We have the current stage of our private rooms, and one of the more coveted Patreon features for the individual, you have different private rooms based on the different Patreon tiers. We're going to go into the purple one real quick. Right now is what you get, but this itself is going to be receiving a nice hefty update in the future. I wanted to give people something that was akin to hotel rooms. There is, I want to say a decently sized community that loves the idea of being able to crash somewhere after you've had your evening doing whatever, having fun. You have a lot of worlds with private rooms, for that matter. A nice private space to have a quick conversation, or maybe you actually just want to fall asleep. So there's a bedroom, there's a hot tub in the other room, there's a small kitchenette that inevitably, when we add food to the world, this should become functional as well. And video player, different things. I'm trying to add different things that'll be sound sources for white, brown, those types of noises that you can find that comfort, wherever you're at. So, but I'm going to pull us back out now. There is a few things that still need to be done, but at the time being, we do have a user list. We'll also obfuscate that user list if we so desire. And then we can lock the doors, because it's not a private room if you can't lock the doors, right? So, back out to the main. Now, if you're watching this video, and you say to yourself, Lingy, did you know that private room right over there, there's a hole in it, and you fall through? I'm going to tell you right now that I will say 3 more days, and it will not get fixed, because this is the best meme of my life. Anyways, dear viewer, not everybody is as big on the, I don't want to say harsh aesthetic, but I've definitely had a few people that they have experienced a need to get away from the visuals and everything. We kind of added, as a silly jab and a gag, I'm a dog, Reenie's a cat, so we also have a cat and a dog room. These are getting small marginal updates as we go along, but these are designed to be nice spaces so that you can change your aesthetic without having to immediately leave the world. So, we have the Amazon Basics cat tree, as we've joked. And a few props in here, a few props in the dog room. As time goes on, I'll be adding other small things as we go along. But this still needs work. This room, the dog room,
Everything
and then the
still
storage
needs
room at the end of
work.
the hall. Everything always needs work. Everything is always a work in progress. We are not content until every little nook and cranny is filled out. Hopefully, the pretty lights and the hexagons on the walls look good for now, but there's obviously more to come. The fun thing about this room, and I don't know if everybody's seen it before, but I'm going to bring our attention in here. This trampoline actually works. Boing. If you time your jumps, you will actually get higher jumps. Boing. Boing. And then if I stop jumping, boing, boing, boing. If you ever need a quick break from the aesthetics of cyberpunky, synthwavy stuff, The City at Night, we wanted to give people a nice place to take a break. So this is one of those spots. As we round out the tour, this is basically one of the original areas that we're actually coming into. When we pushed the map into community labs, it was 2 bathrooms, the bathroom hallway, and the main bar, as well as the outside area. There's definitely a lot more additions nowadays, and as we get time, we're adding bit by bit. This is a storage room that in a very near update, has these signs. These are A-frame signs that you'll find outside of cafes, for example. And although I cannot show imagery on there right now, we basically have the tech in to be able to take these signs and put them where you need in the world. So if you're having a performance and you want to link the performers, let's say they have a coffee, let's say they have their own Patreon, let's say they have socials that they want listed, a Twitter handle, a Discord handle, let's say they've got a Twitch or a Kick or whatever platform they're on, let's say,
maybe you want the event schedule on there.
Maybe you want to use these as literal arrows to show people where they need to go for the evening. Totally doable. Anyway, this is now the main route up. The side way up is currently sort of a access stairwell. It very definitely looks like that. It needs to be more grandiose. And since I know that the DJ scene, the music scene is alive and well in here, I need to start catering to that. That is definitely something on the list. So expect a lot from this out here. More audio link props, more colorful hexagons on the walls, stuff like that. Until that time, we do have a beer pong table, we have a spin the bottle table, we have a pool table. Fun games for people. We plan on adding card games in the future. So stay tuned for that.
Precisely.
That is basically the tour. As Rini experiences enlightenment on that stool.
I did want to point one thing out, though. One very major thing about our Patreon, and this is our stance. This is us going forward. This is not going to change. We are not selling features. We're selling automation. We do not want to paywall things of excitement. Yes, there's an exclusive VIP room, but by all means, your friend can open the door and let everybody in. The bar you're going to that evening can also open the door and let everybody in. It all comes down to that's probably the one paywalled feature is just those private rooms. But apart from that, everything is about automation. Everything is about speeding up the experience. If you come in here now and you had a roster of 12 people, you'd have to go through the list, assign each one a permission. You'd have to copy each and every link to get them into the banner slots. When people are coming in through the front door, you might have like 20 regulars that you are comfortable putting on your VIP list. Your bouncer's going to have to deal with them every night amongst the general population. Instead of dealing with all of that, we sell automation. Come in, you push one button, so that you click to start your Patreon bar. You see a list of Patreon bars you're allowed to start, which is not exclusive to just one person either. Those pledges also give you the opportunity to put your friends on that list as well, or your group mates, or I've always treated VR chat groups like clans from original video games, whatever you want to call them. You have the right to do all of that, to do right by your community, to build it, and not have to worry about the mundane parts of it. You can go right into the fun of it. Now, if you're small, obviously all that automation doesn't make much sense. But for a larger organization that has 30, 40 different people on the roster who could be coming in any day of the week, all of that stuff just speeds up the experience and gets you right to what you want to do, rather than setting it up every time. This is your playground to customize, and more importantly, to keep customizing. So we want to keep giving more and more features to the community. And to anybody out there who's worried about it, no, our prices are not changing anytime soon, nor will they probably ever. We are very comfortable with where we're at. We're very comfortable with how much the community has embraced this project as much as we have.
Yes.
It took them a little bit longer, honestly, but, every project takes love, and love isn't earned after a day. It takes time. So we put the love into it, and now our community's showing it back to us.
Heck yeah, that's wonderful. Just wanted to say thank you guys very much for giving us the time to sit here and do a video with y'all and interview you and find out about your world and your history with MVR chat. And just wanted to say cheers and thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for coming out to Sunset as always. We hope to see you guys here. If you are able to make it later in the evenings, that's usually what Rennie and I are on. We do the rounds. We'll see you probably. So we're not.
Don't be.
I'm not gonna. I'm not going to give you one of those. Well, we're not like your other VR chat world developer speeches, but
they actually do happen. You know, whatever your
hold on,
vibe
good
might
comedy.
be, we really do. It's actually impressive. But whatever your vibe is, there are bars for every circumstance. We have some that are more anime focused. We have some more that are more real life focused. We've got, and there's a lot of opportunities too. If you're bored and you just want something to do in VR, maybe it's not all about coming out here and being at the bar. Maybe you want to be part of the bar, So these groups out there, they're looking for people. So always be on the lookout for that. And, for some of them, they actually do pretty well for themselves. Like they network, they're meeting new people. Sometimes even get tipped. So if you're trying to like figure out a way to just like enjoy yourself, but also maybe get involved in something that's new and budding. I'm not going to say it's a virtual reality service industry quite yet, but if you want to be basically a volunteer therapist, which is basically what bartenders are, you might find your calling here.
Mhm.
And that's all from me.
Definitely. Guys, highly recommend you come out to see the Sunset Bar. I have lots of wonderful memories here, meeting tons of great people. The security for the instances is far beyond anything else I've experienced in any of the other worlds so far. So, yeah, come on out and enjoy your time.